Okay, Ian, your microphone is now on. Check, check. 1, 2.
Check,
All
check.
right, ladies and gentlemen of the fucking internet world. Here we go, Patreon people. The live stream. Should we do it?
Let's do it.
Ba-da! Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. Okay, we're gonna definitely have to work on your intro
It was
music, Ian.
better than last week.
It was slightly better than last week. There's no doubt about that. Hello, party people. This is KCRA News Headquarters, the fucking live stream capital of the world. I'm here with the great, the ever-present, never on camera Wonder Boy. How are you today, Ian?
I'm very well, thanks, Patrick.
Great. I fucking activated Siri. Jesus Christ.
What did you just say?
Look at this, dude. So somehow I've activated Siri, and it says, "Hey Siri, news headquarters of the world." Oh, now it's fucking repeating what I'm saying. Yeah, I get you. I get you. Okay. Well, we've started off with a bang.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go ahead and mute this. Would have been smart before the live stream started. Let's just not say "Hey Siri." Ah, damn it. Okay. We'll wait for Siri to turn off. Hello, everyone. Ian, what's happening? What are we doing today?
Today we're going to answer some Patreon supporters' questions.
Okay,
First
so
up.
we're doing something new. I like it. We've branched out from our normal, what do they call that? Normal
Program?
Yes, from our normal program. And we're going to answer some questions. Okay. Before we do that, we should tell people, because this is an email every single time, maybe we should nominate, if we only had a moderator in the chat, if someone could just look after the chat and maybe direct people to use the chat in YouTube as opposed to the Patreon chat, because people get pissed when they type stuff in on Patreon and then no one acknowledges their existence. So if you're new to the live stream, all we can see is the YouTube chat when we're doing these things. So that is how you get a hold of us and give a shit for, well, you can give shit to Ian for his accent, right?
Yeah.
Nobody understands what the fuck he's saying.
That's not true.
And
Everybody understands what I'm saying.
yeah, the four people that live in where are you town? What's town are you from?
Wolverhampton.
Worcestershire sauce. That's not nice. I'm sorry, Ian. Apologies. Okay, so that's it. We're answering some questions, and we are doing. What are we doing? Oh, we're looking at a video shot by
Johnny Stuckmeyer.
Johnny Boy doing the old. He's what I don't know where I was going with that. Shit the bed there. Okay. Well, should we say hello to the chat people before we start? It would be impolite if we didn't say hello to everybody out there. Adam, we got Adam with a big fucking smiley face. I don't know about the YouTube emoji chats. The little emoji things, they suck.
A bit of a wide neck there, Adam has.
Yeah, exactly. He's got to slim down on the old diet. Then we got, what do we got? Jarrett, Sky Blue, Julian, everyone. Hello. Sergio. Always a pleasure.
Oh, thanks, Sergio. He says, welcome back, Ian.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Even called you by your proper name.
Yeah.
Very nice. Okay. And boom. Alrighty. Dan. What's happening? Nice. And David. Look at this. We already got a question. Ian.
Yeah.
From the audience.
Mm-hmm.
Let's hear it. Hit me.
So, David G is curious about the term shooting donuts.
Shooting donuts?
Yeah. Is it a cinematography phrase? Google apparently just returns beautiful donuts.
Shooting donuts. I have no idea.
It's what
Do I say that?
Yeah, you say it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I was like, maybe. Yeah. I mean, I have done a donut commercial. No, shooting donuts, when I refer to it, donuts is just another way of saying zero or nothing or zero, like no. So if you just show up to a place and you shoot donuts, it means you don't use anything. I think every sort of market has a different term for it, or every area has a different term for it. They call it something else in LA. Oysters, shooting oysters is something I've heard before, but no. Donuts means just fuck all, just rock up and shoot.
You don't need any lighting.
Well, not that you don't need some. I'm sure chances are you could have used some, but you decide not to, or you got nothing. So one of those things. Donuts is usually, I don't know if you would say it in a positive light. You know what I mean? It's more referring to fuck it. We got donuts. We got nothing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you go to a location and it's no good, and the director says, "Hey, how was that location that you went to pre-scout?" Nah, donuts.
Donuts, right. David G says, got it. Thanks for the answer.
This is what we're here for, David. This is what we're here for. Okay.
So we got another question here from Julius Gold.
Yeah.
He's saying, do you think it's still worth buying an Alexa Classic given the used price?
Oh shit! Actually, this is another question which someone from Patreon sent in, which I have not briefed you on, Ian. But it sort of lines up with this question, and don't forget after I answer this one to remind me of the Sony Venice question. Do I think it is still worth it? Well, let's see. The last 4 jobs that I've done, discounting yesterday's job, the last 4 before that had been at 1080p, ProRes 444 Alexa. That's 4 jobs. If you were to math it out, even still, I would imagine that the Classic gets you $800 a day, right? Only in terms of rental, $800 for a Classic. That's pretty much what it goes for. 4 jobs. What do you got there? 4 times 8, 3,200.
Yep.
And that's in the span of a month. I would imagine you could still get. I mean, how long is it before broadcast TV switches over to anything past 1080? You know, it's going to be a while. It's more convincing production companies. Like, it still looks great. It still works. It's a fantastic camera. The thing that you got to remember with the Classic is, I'm sort of jumping all over the place here, but the Classic is like the XT and the SXT. Compared to the Mini and the Amira, they are power hungry. You have to have, you're not going to do a commercial without block batteries. So if you don't know what block batteries are,
probably shouldn't get one.
You probably shouldn't. You should probably think about like the whole infrastructure that has to go with. It's not like if you buy a Red or even a Mini to a certain extent. Yeah, there are accessories that you have to get, but it's not like this giant infrastructure. With the Alexa, with the Classic and the SXT and the XT, all these the sort of bigger Alexa cameras, there is a bit of infrastructure that goes with it, like the power. You're going from consumer stuff or prosumer stuff like HDMI or DTAP power to now you're talking about 2-pin LEMO power. You're talking about RS power, which means you need to get all new cables for your monitor.
You need to learn what those things mean.
Exactly. Runs like, I mean, and then you got to think about the voltage that's coming out of the camera is different, and 12 volts versus 24 volts, and which pins do what bit. It's all a bit of a shit show, but it still makes great images, and you can certainly on-sell it. The problem I think I would foresee is that you would have to have already in the bank some clientele that wouldn't mind not shooting on the latest and greatest thing, right? Because the difference between the Alexa Classic 1080p, I don't know why I say P, like anybody shooting interlaced, 1080, the HD out of the Alexa Classic is identical to the XT, right? It's just about selling people onto the idea that, you know, you don't need the latest and greatest. There's not really that much in between. Is that really worth the pain in the ass of going out there and getting the camera? I don't know. I would say if you're looking for your own stuff, and it's between that and like an Ursa Mini or something, I would certainly say get the Classic. Get the Classic, get some batteries, and get yourself sorted. That thing will last you, you know, at least, I would imagine, at least 24 months before people start to really shit on it. And even then, it would probably last you longer. The only bummer would be anamorphic. If you want to do anamorphic stuff, it's just kind of limiting just to spherical, especially the Classic.
You can't do anamorphic on the Classic.
You can do anamorphic on the Classic, but at 4x3's the 16:9 sensor, so you're getting a very, very tiny bit of the sensor.
Okay.
It's not until they came out with the Classic, which wasn't the Classic then, which was the EV, the entry version. Then they came out with the Plus of the 16:9 sensor. Then they came out with the 4x3, and that was when it sort of really took off when they came out with the taller sensor. So there's little bits in there. Right now, though, I will tell you this, and this is for Patreon supporters only. If you are interested in an Alexa XT and an amazing deal, let me know, because I can't share this stuff with the outside, but I know a rental house. The camera is in Australia, but they are letting go of an XT at an extremely attractive price. So,
Mm.
and it's a full package. Problem with the XT stuff, like the XT right now is still, even more so, the Mini, the price really hasn't dropped that much from the LF announcement. It's sort of different markets. But the people that had XTs and SXTs, the rental houses, some are 50-50. You know, some are splitting off and getting the LF and some are not. But that means that the XT is still it's the rare one that you can find that isn't crazy expensive. You can get it for, a fifth of what it cost originally. And you can be shooting 3.2K ProRes, which is essentially what everybody shoots on the Mini anyway. Very rarely do people use the 4K UpRes. And, you can have that camera for a while and it still rents out at a fairly expensive price. So anyway, if you're in the market. Okay, what else we got? Any more questions? Did I answer that?
Well, following on from buying a camera,
Yeah.
Dan the Jesus says he doesn't have any experience with ARRI or RED cameras.
Yeah.
Would it be wise to rent one out for a weekend and learn how to use it before using one on a shoot?
You're scaring me, Dan G. You're scaring me. Yes, you definitely want to rent something out before anybody's paying you. All right, if they're not paying you, then you can get it the day before. Generally, if you don't know what you're doing, well, first of all, YouTube probably has all the answers before you even see the camera, so you could probably get a run through there. The Alexa is the easiest system in the world. There's the easiest navigation system. It's a few buttons. You really can't fuck it up. You turn the thing on, which is why people like it. Red is a little bit different, and you can severely fuck up the footage and think that you know what you're doing. Right? It can trick you into thinking what you're getting is nice. Because there's so many options, it's like a Sony camera. The menus, you can just get lost down these menus thinking that you're doing something good, and it turns out you're doing something really bad. So I would definitely say either YouTube the shit out of the operational stuff, because there's tons and tons of videos on that, and then go in the day before and get the rental company to just run you down. They're generally, wherever you're getting it from, they'll give you a rundown if you're just honest with them and tell them that you have no idea what you're doing. So that would be the go, but I would definitely rent it before I was going to use it on any project.
ARRI, apparently, according to Ray Rushing, has an online simulator.
Yeah.
For the menus that you can have a go with.
Yeah, even the menu, but even getting used to the false color, getting used to how you want the format set up in the camera, how you want the crosshairs, all that sort of stuff. That doesn't sound like it would take a long time to change, but if you've got 10 or 15 of them and you rock up on the day before, it can be a bit of a nightmare to wrap your head around everything you need to know. So I would say if you're getting it from a good rental place, and you tell them in advance, they can give you a pretty good rundown. But yeah, I would test it anyway. So there we go.
Happy with that?
Yeah.
Got time for another question?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, we got one from Steve Deleonardis, and this is again on cameras. He's saying, do you think purchasing the new Red Gemini 5K would be a good option for starting out DP on lower budget gigs with small lights?
Do I think? It's hard for me to say no. I don't know how much it costs.
Yeah, okay.
I haven't really looked into it. I mean, I saw that they did come out with another camera, and this is the problem. And I don't know if it is the years of experience now speaking, to which I would not have wanted to hear any of it, right? Because now I've got, I'm sort of in the Alexa world, and thinking about buying a Red camera now. If I was in your position, if I was just starting out, a camera will definitely get you some gigs, and the time in between the gigs was the most important for me with the camera. Like the Red camera got me it didn't get me anything actually. It got me no gigs. But what I was able to do in between the gigs got me gigs, if you know what I'm saying. It's like you're out there shooting. You can take a friend out, or you can take your girlfriend out, and
boyfriend.
Or boyfriend. That's very good job, Ian. You can take them out and use them and make it look like a halfway decent commercial at the right time of day. Drop that in your reel, and before you know it, people think that was some sort of gig that you worked on. So it does help to have the camera around all the time. No one with any budget is. Maybe they are. Maybe I'm out of this world. Ian, maybe you can help me here.
Mm-hmm.
Do they expect people to have a camera on the low budget gigs? I don't know.
I don't know if they expect it, but they do like it a lot, especially in Perth.
Yeah.
It's easier for people to get an all-in-one package with the DP. That's what That's
what
what
you've experienced.
I'm here. That's what I've experienced personally myself
Yeah.
with my A7S gear.
Yeah.
Tilted
Yeah. I mean,
cage.
I guess you're right. In a low budget sense, you're not going to want to be dealing because I'm only thinking like if you only have the camera, and a few bits and pieces that go along with it, and you have to go to the rental house anyway, they're going to give you a shittier deal, and it's going to be another trip that the AC's got to make. If you're working on low budget stuff where it's just you going out, then I would see where that would be an advantage.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. This is again though. I don't know like if the Gemini comes out and it's triple the cost of a Scarlett W.
It's saying that it's 25 grand, $24,500 US, I reckon.
Yeah, but is that like the red price for the brain? Because then you got all the other
Yeah.
shit that goes with
Yeah.
it. Like that was when I got mine. It's like, man, you got to really think about the sums
Mm-hmm.
because it adds up really, really quick. But, yeah, I would probably say, if whatever you're looking to do with it, is it not better to get, because the generations are coming out so quickly. Like I thought the Scarlett W was, and the Epic W was still around. I thought those were the latest and greatest cameras. That wasn't even a year ago that those things came out, was it? Maybe 18 months ago. And they've gone through 3 different iterations of sensor. You can get the Monstro, you can get the Helium, you can get the this one, the Gemini.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if I don't know what's happening, and again, I'm not paying close attention, but I'm paying closer attention than producers or production companies for sure. If I don't know which one of those is better in terms of tiers, why wouldn't you go in with the one that would be just capable enough for the stuff that you're doing? Like I don't know if you're on a low budget, I don't think you can outshoot the Scarlett W. Do you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that would be a limiting factor. And then if they do start asking, well, they want to shoot with the latest and greatest shit. Well, now you're not talking about low budget anymore, right? If you're in that world or you want to be in that world, then you have to start making sacrifices for your gear. And yes, it turns out to be way more expensive, but it doesn't because you're getting all that money back. So I would start with the what do they call that?
Entry level.
Yeah, but like the lowest cost to get me to the next stage.
Yeah.
Right? Like the Gemini, 25 grand, say all up the package ends up costing you 35 grand. And all you're really doing is getting from that low budget to where everything's coming from a rental house. Like that's the step that you want to take. You want to go from shitty web stuff to regional TV spots, right? That's what you've identified as the next necessary step. I would say, go for the lowest thing that's going to get you there because you're going to have to swap anyway. It's like when I talk about gear, always try and buy the best thing because that's what it will rent you forever. If you get an Arri follow focus, right, it's going to cost you $4,000, but you will use it for 25 years, and you never have to buy it again. I know that's hard for some people to swallow, but I don't know if I would buy that. I would look for the minimum thing that I couldn't outshoot, and then I would use that until I got into the world of rental houses. Should we do another one? What time is it? 10:30. Yeah, let's do one more.
One more?
Yeah. What else we got?
Right, let's go. Sony Venice question.
Oh yeah, the Sony Venice question. So there was a question between an Amira and a Sony Venice, and Sony Venice is the latest and greatest. And I can't remember where this guy was coming from in terms of his budget, but this is the same thing that falls along the line with the classic, which is what does the Sony Venice get you? Uncharted territory. No one knows the name of it that's in a production company or producers. It's not like directors are asking for Sony Venice. Directors just want something that's easy to shoot with, will get them the most amount of time with the actors. Producers want something that will not turn off halfway through the take. They won't, lose any footage or do anything stupid. I don't see any advantages to the Venice. Now, maybe make some awesome pictures, but I'm talking from a business standpoint. If you want to make awesome pictures with the Sony Venice and you want to shoot with it, I would say fantastic. Rent it from somebody else, or have the Amira, use it 15 times, take that cash that you've made and rent the Sony Venice because the Amira will still make you money. The Venice, I don't see how the math would add up if we're talking about it from a business perspective. Like it may be a great camera, but let someone else do the shitty bit of owning a brick while you own something that can work. And right, that's shitting on that that camera, but not really.
The Sony Venice is a 6K camera. I've just seen quickly, and is it competing with Arri on their higher end cameras? Is that the idea with it?
No, I think there's one above. I think the Sony Venice is like the new F55. I think it's like
Okay.
the mid level. I have no
Mid-level,
idea,
Okay, yeah.
to be honest. But I would imagine that I know it's a full frame sensor. It's
Yep.
it's fairly what do they call it? It has its shoes tied together. That's not the phrase. I'm an idiot. It's being hampered right now by the firmware, and they're touting all these things that will be coming.
Okay.
Right? But at the moment, talk about playing in a very hard field. Like, there is no reason to switch.
Mm-hmm.
It has to look twice as good to get everybody to shift.
Yeah.
And if you are riding this wave, unless you are the one creating the wave, like if you're Greg Fraser or if you're Chivo, you can create the wave, because you know that if you do something, you put it on Instagram, or it gets out, or it's in ASC magazine that you have done all these things, then people start to follow along, right? And if you were smart, like the what are those fucking lights? The little square ones that were on Star Wars, LED.
Side panels.
No. The little ones. They are from the company in Europe.
Sputniks.
Yeah.
Digital Sputniks.
Digital Sputniks. What are the chances that anyone would have heard of those fucking things if it wasn't for Greg Fraser? I mean, they started popping up everywhere because of him. They just, you have the ability to make those waves. Now, if you're him, that Sony Venice makes sense, because you can get that camera, you can say, look at what it does, when in fact it was just his skill that led him to get there. But the idea of you venturing out to get an uncharted camera, that's like, you might as well be playing the lottery. I mean, the digital Sputniks are cool. Would they have become near as popular without Greg Fraser? No. I'm sure he has some sort of stock in them or something, or he should, because they've made a fuckload of money from that, because you see him all the time now. They sort of dropped off since the Sky Panel revolution, but yeah, okay. Well, should we do anything else, or should we look at these frames? Let's look at the frames.
Look at the frames.
To the frame.
Okay.
Ba-da-ba-da-ba. Okay. This was shot by who was it?
Johnny Stuckmeyer.
Johnny Stuckmeyer. And this link,
Johnny
boy, this link is it's on the Patreon page, because he just posted it, I think, and some people have seen it. The cool thing about this commercial, which you can't really get from the stills at all, I tried my best in a hurry to pull some of the stills that I liked and something that we can talk about, but this is the stills don't do it justice in that it's all moving around and it's all very Movi-esque or Ronin. There's a bit of gimbal action walking around these bars, so the lighting is never constant, and it's lit much more for 360 degrees, but we can still talk about aspects of the frame that were nice, right? So that's what we'll do. So this first frame, it's all, it's in that music video world of very high color contrast, sort of what we were talking about a few weeks ago with Garrett Hardy Davis in the sports world. This is that Sky Panel. Everyone's doing crazy colored gels and stuff like that. So this is in a nightclub or in some sort of bar. And we got some good things going on here. We got a hard setup right now. If you were looking at this shot, just imagine that you were looking at a storyboard of this shot. The things that would jump out to me, which would be difficult to do and difficult to make nice, which Johnny has done a very good job of, is how do we get interest in something that is, we're shooting flat against this wall. Like, oops, purple on a red background, genius. You're stuck on this back wall. You don't have a lot of depth in this shot. How do you make things interesting? And how do you keep the lighting interesting and not make it look too flat? And he's done a good job here. This little cheek is really the thing that sets off the shot and makes it look good. You can see just from the nose, from this little cheek to nose light, shows you the position of the lamp over here. But it's cool because you've got this little wash of color that is a deeper color. Could be because it's a darker wood back here, and this light is the same light as this. The color just looks deeper because the wood is darker than her skin. But it's nice because you get that little, it also could be a grade thing where you just power window. Oops. What's going on here? You power window her face like that, and then you bring all the rest of it down, right? That's probably more realistic. But it's nice shape. And then you've got this little fill side here, which is being filled in with another. I don't know if you can't really tell if it's a lamp or not by the reflection in her eye,
A bit purpley.
But it is, yeah, it's definitely a different color. So I don't know if that's coming from that direction. But I guess it is infecting the wall as well. But this is kind of cool, and I picked it because it's a hard shot. Right, it's up against this wall, and it's really hard to get depth. But you can see he's doing his best because you're still getting a little bit of edge here, and that little bit of edge is what's what I think is selling it from what could have been really flat. Like you don't have a lot of degree around her to bring in the lamp without being either one super fronty. Right, if you came in from this direction, it would look like you were just smacking her in the face with light. So you got to get up and around, and he's done a good job there. I like this one. Thoughts, Ian?
Yeah, she's got hair a bit like mine.
She does. She's got an interesting look. We were going to put you on camera today. Forgot about that. The iPhone camera. Didn't set it up.
I wore a shirt and everything.
And we got all fancied up for nothing. Okay, let's zoom out here a little bit. I'll tease you with all this stuff. Now remember that the camera is moving all around. But let's go back to this one. This is where, and hopefully, I don't know if Johnny's in the chat right now, but if he is, he can answer some of the questions about what this was shot on and the gimbal setup, because all the density in the other shots, like this is really nice. I like this. This darkness feels like darkness should. This feels like darkness should. The skin tones feel exactly like where they should line up. And even though we're moving through this whole bar, and it's a very, it's not Birdman-esque, but in the choreography of the movement, it is. Not in terms of the lensing, but this feels less dense, right? Would you agree, Ian? Do you get that feeling? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do.
I just think like this level of hotness, and this level of raised black, like the contrast, it doesn't seem to be falling in the right spot as this just feels more natural. This and then this darkness feels like, well, it's dark, but it's well done dark.
Well, yeah.
Does that make sense? Like it feels like that's where the darkness should be. And in this one, it just, I don't know, maybe it's the mix of all the colors. Like there isn't a color that isn't happening here except for maybe green. But you've got this just washed in light, her washed in one whole tone of color, him just getting smacked in the face with some light from what looks like above maybe, up there. And then you got this other red light and this really strong blue. So it's like this just, it almost feels a little bit too filled in. Do you know what I mean?
The background for me is just too bright.
Yeah.
With all the yellow on that side, that if they could have brought down the levels on that, it might have brought focus onto her some more.
Yeah, I think that's, essentially I think that's what I'm saying is there's so much going on, and then that could have been because the shot runs along and follows this lady down the hallway. I can't remember exactly how it goes.
Yeah.
But it just feels like there's so much going on in this shot that maybe you didn't have time to set all the levels perfectly. And you can see like even the camera is struggling with that blue and struggling with that red. If you just dial that back even just a little bit, it can help. There you go.
Ooh, we got Johnny Stuckmeyer in the house.
Beautiful.
Say that.
Stuckmeyer? Is he in the house when it's live stream?
Yeah, in the net.
You're supposed to be the young one that's full of like the
I know,
stuff, and you're shit in the bed.
I don't know.
Okay.
10.
Well, cool. He's in. What did they shoot it on?
He's saying they shot it on a Sony FS7.
Okay. Oh yeah, I see. Down the bottom.
Everything was lit with 3 hive lights and a bunch of practicals with gels.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the only thing that is freaking me out is this. I mean, this guy's face is the one that I'm drawn to the most. I guess because you got that strong blue, you got the strong red, and you got the punch in the face from something else. I don't know how did you get that punch in the face? I don't see where that light is. I can't imagine that little tube here is providing that amount of punch on his face.
It's coming from
but I have been wrong before, Ian.
Further around, isn't it?
It feels like it's, I don't know, behind her head. Like it feels like there's some sort of fixture coming this way because you can see the shadow on his nose. Hopefully Johnny will answer that question so that we don't wait here with bated breath. But yeah. I would say, it's just the overall content. Like this light. Imagine how cool this would have been if this blue light was positioned up here, coming down this way, you know? Then you had, let's see if we can do this without the computer dying. We can't. Fuck. It would be really cool if this area, oh, let's just do this now. Here we go. Like already, I'm not hating this. You know what I mean? Like just with the curves down. Feels, and that's just everywhere. Whereas this feels lifted. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's too much. But
yeah, Johnny's saying it was the house lights above the bar, plus one of the 4-foot tubes.
yeah,
with the
right.
yellow gel. I
Yeah,
mean, you
right.
could have killed the house lights, maybe.
Yeah, is that this thing though? I guess you could have killed that. You don't really need that thing either. That thing in the background.
But these are practical things which I'm sure Johnny struggled with on the day.
Yeah, I guess if you don't have that much crew, that's the thing that you get in those wide shots, which is again comes back to, picking your moments for your showreel stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You always find that people just starting out will have a lot more close-in stuff because there's a lot. Look at all this shit going on in this frame. There's a lot to be doing here, and there's a lot of running around, racing around, keeping track of everything. Where when you're starting out, if you're doing, say, you're doing a spec ad or a low budget music video, these are the scenes and the setups when you're talking with the director, like, fuck, okay, this is going to take extra long. It's going to take a while because I've got all these things to think about. Or maybe we write it another way that we don't have to do this big wide setup, because it can take something that it only takes, and this is true for anything, it only takes one shot to make it shit. And this is not shit. I'm not saying that this is shit, Johnny, by the way. I'm just saying in general. If you have a project, especially like a spec commercial, there's only one. It only takes one shot to draw you out of, wait a sec, like there's some fuckery going on here. Like this is not a diamond commercial. They've tricked me. This is some spec ad. You know what I mean? So I would say the wider the shot, obviously the harder it gets. Where in a shot like this, there's a lot less going on, and you can start to see the control. Like this is cool. I really like. I mean, the light on her, right? That's like normal bathroom light overhead, smacking her in the face. You got the nice little mirror images here. But then this is where, oops, fucking hell. Oh my God. Oh, disaster.
What's happened?
Oh no, can't control Photoshop. How are we gonna do this? Do not crop. Okay,
the control has been lost.
I'm back. I would say that in this image, you can see that you've got this nice control back here. This is good level compared to the light that's hitting her. This is very nice and very balanced, and I would be really, really happy if I turned on the camera and it looked like that, right? We're in a shitter. This is what it should look like, right? But we're in like a movie shitter. We're not in a normal shitter. So I'd say, yeah, very cool. And again, we're back here outside in the world of color, and this could be just a sensor thing, and this is where it gets hard from Johnny's perspective, because you're lighting this thing with 3 hive lights and gels, and why this is also why this color work has become so much more polished now, is because without gels, if you can just dial in the level of saturation, then you don't start to get the crunchiness, right? That's always been the problem when you go heavy gel, is you get this crunch that occurs.
What do you mean by that crunch? Sorry.
Like it almost gets too much. At times it gets too much for the sensor. Like there's so much saturation in the color that one of the channels will clip. Like, that blue is just starting, that red is just starting. Whereas if this was what the fuck is going on with my Photoshop skills today? Oh no, I'm coloring the curves. Like this color, if you were on a sky panel, you could just take that down maybe 10% in saturation. You'd still get the same effect, but you wouldn't get the clipping. Which then when you went in to make it polished, it wouldn't feel as it starts to. You can't come back from the crunch, basically. So I see where the issue is here. This one, I mean, I really like the mood. I like the tone. I like everything. I like the red. I like all that. And understandably, from the way that the blocking was, I'd try and get more shape. I don't know how you would do that, right, without being in the room, but I would say this is cool. This is cool back here. This is cool. It's just this bit, this little facial body bit, I would probably just try and bring in more direction. But that's a personal call. You may like that it looks like this. That's one of those things. I would probably, though, if I was looking through the viewfinder, I'd be trying to come up with right until the end, well, how do we get this more shape? Like, how do we get more interest in where we actually want people looking? Because yeah, you're getting the color contrast, but is that enough, right? You can't just use color. Would it be any different if it was denser or darker? Or could we get more of a shadow side here? What if we just run a 20 by 12 neg down the side, completely kill all the light coming from this direction? We walk it in just out of frame, and then we have this light just a little bit more powerful. That way your ratios are skewed, so you get darker where it was lighter before, and you get the same amount of exposure on the skin. These are all the practical ways that you may be able to alter things very quickly, right? The blacks are the easiest thing to do to alter stuff quickly, because a lot of the times you can just clip them onto things and you don't need a lot of people or equipment or anything like that. So, yeah, I would say good job. I mean, it looks cool.
Yeah.
Ian, what do you think?
I really like it. I like the different colours. I quite like in this image the sort of hair light coming around as red.
Yeah.
That way, I think you, like you're saying, if you could bring in some sort of neg to dark up one of the sides, you still get that extra bit of punch from the shot because you've got a lot of colour in there.
Yeah.
And adding more shape wouldn't take too much of that colour away.
Yeah. Yeah, but like I was saying before, that really is it is a different understanding learning to do it on a close-up. Learning to do it on a close-up like this, let's take, for example, we don't really have a good one in this one, but this one will work best, I imagine. In this shot, say you wanted to make this side of this girl's face darker, right? Because you're so close to her, it doesn't take a whole lot of effort to change the ratios. Like say, okay, we want to make this darker. You could just walk in neg, but maybe you don't have enough space to get the neg close enough. So then what do you do? Well, then you have to brighten the light, the level that's coming onto her face from this direction. And then in turn, that will make this even darker because the ratios will start to skew. That understanding and the tools that you use, like the 4x floppy or bumping it up one stop or taking out an ND, that becomes infinitely harder to control the wider that you get. And that is really where you see the skill if you look at the top people, where they're able to get that same control in a wide shot requires so much more scale and planning. It's like the difference between, a compact prime and a master prime. They both get the job done, but it's infinitely, like the gap as you get higher up, the gap to that last little bit of knowledge gets greater and greater and greater. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I'm talking out my ass.
No, that makes sense.
It's just harder and harder to do, and it requires, a really, really good eye and paying attention, because in the wide, there's going to be so much infrastructure that you need to get those levels that you're not going to be able to just say like, okay, bring in a 4x floppy. Like you're going to have to do a whole lot of work before to actually get all those things in place to be able to pull it off. So that's what I would say. But good job. Again, strong work from the Patreon group, showing off. And what else we got? No, that's it. That was it. Just those 4 shots today. And me fucking flapping my gums about the Alexa. What do we got here? Andrew Strobridge.
What's that boy, Astro Bridge?
Is it?
From last week?
Hey, let's get a check-in, actually, before we, if we have time. Let's get a check-in on what's our follower count for Astro Bridge.
Did it go up by 17?
Did it go up? What are the chances? Can we get an update? Astro Bridge. What do you think?
I reckon it.
Bets? Did the Patreon group pay off?
Yeah.
Did anyone in their right mind go and follow Astro Bridge? I say no more than 10 people. You got a follow bump of 10 people.
I reckon at least 20. Because the Patreon community, they look after each other. They like to see what the other people are doing.
That's true.
So they like to follow the other. Well, that's how I feel.
Oh, damn it. Damn it.
20 at least. Mostly there we go. That's where it starts. It starts with the DPs and then it spreads. It's just like Sex in the City.
What? What does DPs have to do with Sex in the City? Where are you going with this?
With their philosophy of marketing from Sex in the City.
Yeah.
Of first you get the gays, then you get the girls, and then you get the industry.
Is this in the show? Am I missing
I
something?
think it
Come
was.
on,
Yeah, I think it was. I read it in a
It
marketing.
sounds
I
like
read it in a marketing book.
Oh, then it must be true. Yeah.
So first you get the DPs,
yeah.
and then you get the DPs mates who are maybe producers.
Okay. that
And
makes
then
sense.
once you've got the producers or directors,
Yeah.
you've got the fucking world.
Yeah. True. You've sold me. I'm ready. I'm
Yeah,
ready to
yeah.
follow Astro Bridge.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's pretty good. 20. I like that. What else was I gonna? I had something else. Jesus. Astro Bridge. What else were we talking about? Something else. You were talking about Sex in the City. Oh, this is crumbling.
I threw it off.
Yeah. No. Oh, actually, I was gonna say, if you have not, and Ian, I bet you haven't either. You have not left a review on iTunes. Thanks
Oh,
for that. You're
no, I
fucking part
haven't.
of the show.
I think I did actually early doors.
Jesus Christ. Anyway, if you are a Patreon member and you haven't left a review, please go do it because, and I only know this through my research for going to America for the podcast, that that thing actually pays off if people leave a review. So if you are, please, Patreon members, go and leave a review. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Should we try and get another Patreon bump for Instagram? Should we try and get someone to? What about Johnny? If you're featured, should we not at least
Johnny,
mention your Instagram?
Johnny Stuckmeyer.
Yeah, I think Jarrett's come up with a good idea there.
What is your Insta? There we
Boom.
go.
Okay, let's get
Pretty
a.
simple.
Let's get. Should I bring it up? Let's see. We'll
Yeah.
get Stuckmeyer on here. Instagram. What are we looking at for time? Oh no.
We are.
Ian.
We are at the end.
Hold on. Let's look. Let's bring it up. Take 2 seconds. Come on, Johnny Stuckmeyer. Okay, what is it? At Johnny. Don't follow him until we get the actual count. Johnny.
Hold on.
Johnny Stuck.
Here we go.
What do you got? Have you got him?
So I've got him up here. Oh,
Oh.
nice.
Okay, I'm up too. What do we got here?
Oh, where is it? Oh no, that's on some club.
Okay. Let's see. $8.99. Here's our boy. We got that music video up here? I don't see it.
899. Right, I'm gonna screenshot that.
Okay, yeah,
So I
we're gonna
remember.
see for next week. What are we doing here? Holy shit.
Whoa.
Jesus Christ. Okay. Many thanks, Patreon people.
Yep.
Sorry, we've got to cut it short here. But yeah, we will see you next week. Anything, Ian, for the people before we go?
Oh no, I've still got nothing.
We've still got nothing. We are gonna have to definitely sort you out of
Yeah,
camera
yeah.
because right now they've been looking at my face, and I'm getting annoyed looking at my face.
Yeah. Okay.
We're gonna have to set up some solution. So, in the week coming, your job is to take the Ursa Mini that's sitting in that box over there
Doing. Yep.
and somehow figure out a way to get a PL anamorphic lens on it.
Done.
Boom. Okay,
On it.
ladies and gents, we will see you next week or in the podcast. Who I just got right now, which is why I got to go recording. Cy Turnbull. If you don't know who he is, look him up. Okay, we'll see you next week. Bye.
Ta-da.